What's up, everybody? We're just 2 days away from Warzone 2 with Battle Royale and DMZ. And so today, Call of Duty put out this intel drop on all of everything that they want us to know for both Battle Royale and DMZ. We did get a short blog post from Infinity Ward that I'm going to link down below with some information on DMZ that I don't think all the details were in this post. And one other note before I get started, I will be streaming live, and I will be jumping into Warzone 2 as soon as it drops, either DMZ or Battle Royale, depending on how many people I have with me and who I have with me, and what we all want to do. But I will be streaming that live. My Twitch is linked down below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this. As usual, I'm going to kind of skip the beginning stuff. If you want to watch the trailer, feel free. This will be linked down below like usual, so you can jump in, read the stuff for yourself, watch the trailer. I'm just going to try to touch on important stuff. And it looks like supporting Warzone 2, again, will be Raven Software with their Trello board and their communications. So hopefully we get quality of life updates that we got in Warzone 1 relatively quickly, as well as good open communication with the community that we saw from Raven the last 6 to 8 months. And so I'm really okay with them leading it. At first I really didn't like it, but I'd rather have them lead it instead of Infinity Ward, who didn't want to give us all those quality of life changes. So anyways, the BR overview, loadout, circle collapse, and gulag updates, interrogate your enemies. That's all stuff we're going to get into as we go through here. Loadouts, they're going to be pretty much the same. You drop from the plane with an X12 handgun, 2 armor plates, and fists, just like always. From the loadout, you get primary and secondary weapon, your lethal and your tactical equipment, and your perk package. It hasn't said on here if the perks are going to work the way they do in multiplayer, where you have to earn them throughout the match. I'm going to assume not, but this is Infinity Ward, this is Call of Duty, anything is possible now. It says loadouts arrive and loadout drops, which descend anytime between the second and sixth circle collapse. So now we're not going to go, okay, there's 15 minutes left in the first circle collapse, loadout is going to be dropping right now. It'll just happen whenever. And then, as we talked about earlier on the roadmap and previous videos, which I'll go ahead and link the roadmap video, as well as that Infinity Ward DMZ blog post video down below. But like we learned in the roadmap, we can also earn loadouts by clearing out strongholds. And then when you clear out the strongholds, if you're the first one, you get the loadout drop. And then also, if you're the first one, you get a key to a black site. And you can clear out the black site and earn other stuff, such as another loadout drop. Custom weapons. Instead of buying loadouts from a buy station, the buy station contains only custom primary weapons from your loadouts. I'm okay with this change because we can't buy loadouts, but I'd still rather just buy a loadout. I'd rather everyone just be able to buy loadouts, but I'm okay with this. This allows you to spend cash on a weapon that fits your personal meta, but those other loadout items are only earned by risking the trip to a loadout drop or clearing out stronghold. See the buy station section for more info. Just a note on that, you probably, if you get a loadout, I think it would be good to not have overkill on there. Some of the pistols seem pretty strong. You could also grab a launcher like the old school days of Warzone 1, and then you could go buy an SMG, or if you're sniping an AR or an SMG, you could go buy that from the buy station. So I think that's a decent idea as well. I'm okay with being able to buy them instead of just loadouts. Streamlined backpack. As opposed to DMZ, Battle Royale features a backpack that works in a more passive way. As an extra place for equipment, armor plates, and other small items, if those spaces occupied your loadout or operator at any time, you can switch out active loadout items with whatever's in the backpack. I saw some footage of people having launchers in their backpack. I saw Jowo had multiple self-revives in their backpack, so it's going to add an interesting element. I don't know how I feel about all that. For DMZ, it's obviously really good, but for Battle Royale, I'm kind of iffy on that. In terms of item gathering, there's no menu navigating outside of these containers, duffel bags, cash registers, weapon lockers, and medicine cabinets. You shouldn't have menus for those either. It should work just like the boxes, where stuff just drops out. I mean, at least I think so. Especially because Warzone is such a fast time to kill. Especially if you're on control and you can't just move your mouse and click on stuff, and it takes you a little longer to scroll through everything, that's like your chance to get third party, killed, whatever, because it takes longer to loot. And their time to kill is just too fast. Interrogation. This is something that was going to be added into Warzone 1, and I guess just never made it. And so now they're putting it in Warzone 2, and I'm actually really excited for this, depending on how it works. Obviously, somebody could just leave mid-match. And I don't know if you are able to finish your self like you could before and just die. I'm going to assume that's not possible. Shout out, I never know this is. Shout out Oakley, I guess. But you can interrogate and it'll show you, it says red dot pings on the minimap, as well as outlines in the environment like a snapshot grenade for a short period of time. You also see the locations of any placed equipment they may have. The effect also dissipates once the interrogatee dies or is revived. So when you interrogate people, it only shows up until they bleed out, which if you interrogate me, I'm just going to bleed out right when you're done, I guess. Of course, this tactic should only be done if the enemy squad is nowhere to be found after one of their allies is down. The person interrogated can also call for help, which marks the interrogator on the map. So at least there's somewhat of a counter to it. Essentially, this new mechanic offers an incredible amount of intel for taking a few seconds to interact with a downed operator. We do not recommend doing this during an active gunfight, but if a takedown appears in a large building and nobody else seems to be around, shake down that injured operator and learn where their friends are. Circle collapse. This is another thing that I personally, just from hearing about it, I'm not a fan. We'll see how it plays, but I just think there's so many situations where it could be frustrating, like if you're on a really high kill game and the circle splits. It says in some games, circle will behave as normal. One circle that closes in several stages. I think within the next few months, we're not going to see these multiple circles. Even if it takes a year, we're going to end up, I think, ditching the multiple circles. All previous tactics for outrunning the collapse and fighting within it apply. In other games, the circle collapse can split into multiple circles, up to 3 in some cases. This can happen at any time between the first and final 2 collapses. When this happens, you should keep the following in mind. Smaller circles, more CQB. So obviously, if you have a smaller circle than normal, when it splits, you're going to be fighting more people closely. You can do cross-circle engagement. So if you can see through the gas or the sandstorm or whatever they're going to use in this, you can snipe through it. And it says also through riskier strategies using a combination of gas masks and stims to will your way between circles. So you can move between circles. I'm guessing that's going to depend on how much they've shrunk and how much space is between them. But you are able to do it. Most players aren't going to do it unless you're on a really high kill game. But then you're risking you come through the circle. And all of a sudden now your health is a little bit lower than somebody camping the edge of circle. And it could just, we'll see how it plays out. And then the merge. Those who know about rotating or positioning yourself towards the next circle will need to account for all circles coming back together as one after a split collapses. Individual circles will ultimately meet in the middle, Venn diagram style. Checking the larger TAC map is crucial for planning next steps, as it is often best to be toward the direction of the future safe area to get ahead of the pack. One thing that's interesting is how will recon contracts work out, right? Does recon show future circles? The more you do, the more circles you see. So if I do a recon contract, is that going to show me just one split? And then if I do another, will it be 2 splits? Or am I going to see that it's splitting? That'll be super interesting to me. Guide to the new gulag. The other thing that I'm not really a fan of is the 2v2 gulag. We know from previous posts it's 2v2. There's prox chat, and you can kill the jailer. As all 4 of you can kill the jailer, and all 4 of you get out. Otherwise, it'll be the 2v2 that wins. I don't really like having to rely on a random whose skill set you don't know, play style you don't know. Might not have a mic for prox chat. That I don't like. The one thing that is nice is that if we have to deal with the jailer, there is prox chat among all 4 teams, but you don't start out in range of the prox chat for the other team. You're actually out of range, so you could plan with your random teammate, hey, do you want to just take the 2v2? Do you want to try to get them to kill the jailer with us? One thing that wasn't touched on before, the jailer jumps down onto the circular platform during the dealer. He has increased health compared to a normal operator and a minigun, which does take a second to wind up, but it is a minigun. That's kind of scary. We did see in previous posts from Call of Duty that it would be a pistol or a shotgun, a lethal, and a tactical grenade. I like the lethal and the tactical. I don't like the shotgun because someone could just camp a corner, wait for you to try to push them, shoot them with the shotgun. I like the pistol. I'm iffy on the highly effective weaponry and gear we place towards the center, partially because of that shotgun. If a shotgun could one hit in the gulag from close enough, why would I go try to loot an SMG when I can just sit in my spawn knowing somebody's going to push me so we don't all lose with no overtime flag anymore. And so someone's going to try to push me to not have us all 4 lose. Camp with a shotgun, shoot them. I really don't like the shotgun start. So don't like the 2v2, don't like the shotgun start, don't like the jailer with the minigun, but we'll see how it all goes. Now, DMZ overview. Like I said, there was more DMZ. There was a short DMZ blog post from Infinity Ward over the weekend, which I'll link my video for that down below. But this is a lot more extensive DMZ overview. You can see on the side, there's DMZ overview, meet the factions, contracts, the backpack, weapons, exfil. That's all going to be that's all DMZ stuff. So I'm going to kind of go over the DMZ stuff rather quickly because we have gotten other information. Like this all here, most of it isn't important. Most of it's already stuff we know. But one of the big things, instead of dropping from a plane, operators are set to enter at random points. So you'll just end up boots on the ground already at a random point instead of diving out of a plane, because this mode doesn't play like a battle royale. For the benefit of your survival and success, your operator has a backpack. We know that. Holds weapons, equipment, and cash, and other valuables that can be used to buy items at shops. While in the DMZ, any found items from containers plucked off to see soldiers or loose in the world must be manually placed in the backpack. So you can't just like run over armor plates. It picks up armor, money, ammo, etc. You do have to actually manually pick those up. One thing that it might mention later, but I didn't mention yet, is that you can sell materials in the buy station in DMZ, which obviously you cannot do in Battle Royale. At any time in the match, you have the option to exfiltrate. Do this by calling in a helicopter transport at a specific marked location. After you use all marked exfil locations, a final exfil point is revealed. The last means of escape to before the match is over, and your escape becomes impossible, as operators are presumed dead due to becoming MIA. I don't think it touched on this, but it does also mark on the map when you're exfilling to everybody else. DMZ is a single life game mode in which dying results in the loss of all non-permanent items in your backpack. Squad mates can perform revives to save your life, but ultimately in every match you have an inherent risk of forever losing items earned in the mode. So it sounds like you can be bought back, but you'd have to go loot your stuff again, and you could still lose all that stuff. There's obviously no gulag in the DMZ with it being a single life mode. Meet the factions, lore given drives. I'm not really going to touch on the lore, but if you do missions, that's how for Legion, which is going to be your first, you unlock White Lotus and the Black Moose. But it says the thing to note is after successfully completing multiple missions for the Legion, you will eventually learn about DMZ's second faction, one fighting on its heels to regain silent dominance over the region. And then Black Moose, however you want to say it. The third faction comes online only after you complete multiple missions for both the Legion and White Lotus, as they hold knowledge as the ultimate form of power. And then just lore stuff, which if you want to read the lore, like I said, this blog post will be linked down below. Contracts, world activities, and assimilation. Contracts, just like in Battle Royale, DMZ contains quick completion objectives that can be accepted in-match for cash and other rewards. While these contracts share the same icons as their Battle Royale counterparts, their objectives are different. Here are some of the DMZ contracts on offer and the TAC map icon for each. Secure Intel Geiger Search Magnifying Glass. So the magnifying glass is not going to be a scav like it is in Battle Royale, at least in Warzone 1. Find intel on hard drives and then go to the nearest radio tower to upload its data. Alternatively, it may task you to collect uranium rods found with a Geiger counter. Elimination, crosshair logo. Assassinate an AI target guarded by multiple combatants or at least confirm their death. Hostage, it's a handcuff logo. Rescue a hostage within a locked building, then carry them to the nearest helicopter exfil location. Cargo delivery and shipment. It's a briefcase logo. Depending on the specific contract, find a vehicle or boat with precious cargo for a drop-off at a marked location. Feel free to keep the vehicle after drop-off. Hunt, it's going to be the skull logo. Hunt an enemy operator team marked as a high-value targets due to their activity within the DMZ match. So this is going to be essentially like your big game bounty. They're high-value targets due to their activity, meaning they've done a lot of missions, they've looted a lot, they've killed a lot, and so they're going to be your hunt. And then destroy supplies, which is going to be your bomb logo, is going to locate and destroy 2 supply sites with planet bombs. Man, I cannot speak right now. World activities. Other icons on DMZ's TAC map indicate additional side objectives. Safes. These contain tons of cash but take time to crack open. The drill you need to use to open a safe attracts AI combatants and is loud enough to draw the attention of operators as well. SAM sites. These anti-air turrets can shoot down planes carrying precious cargo. Activate them to potentially send a supply box containing valuable items crashing down. UAV towers, find these around Mazrah to receive intel on AI combatant and operator locations via the minimap. So we had those on Rebirth Island in Warzone 1. Hidden caches, obviously not marked on the map. Learn where these are likely to be found for consistent valuable item drops. So I'm assuming they're going to have a bunch of locations where they can be, but they won't be in every location every match, and it'll change match to match. Strongholds, these also exist in Battle Royale. Skip down to Strongholds overview for more details. Occasionally parts of Mazrah may be under the effects of 2 conditions. Sandstorms. As a desert city, these conditions can kick up at any time, reducing visibility and damaging operators over time. If one hits, evacuate the area ASAP. So the sandstorm will just be in part of the map, and you just have to leave that part of the map. I wonder if gas masks or some other equipment will be able to help with that. Radiation. Not much is known of its origins, but this deadly condition can poison operators. Iodine pills, a new field upgrade, can be found to counteract its effects. That'll probably be mostly useful if you do the mission for the Geiger search. If you end up with one of those, that's where radiation, where the iodine pills and the radiation will come into play the most. Fighting other operators in a simulation. While DMZ focuses mainly on eliminating AI combatants, you may also encounter other operators during your travels across Mazrah. You are free to engage or avoid these other squads as you see fit. In squad-based DMZ matches such as trios at launch, there is also the option to assimilate with other squads instead of fighting them. Though you might be initially reticent to partner with rival operators through proximity chat and a calm head, you can try to foster a temporary alliance. You may be glad you did, as this is incredibly useful. First of all, if all operators are trying to complete the same faction mission, they may want to party up and tackle it together. Alternatively, if one group is newer to DMZ and can convince a more experienced party to help them out, that could help them survive in a match longer. Or in situations two squads are in a heated battle, they can ultimately decide to save their ammo, assimilate, and revive each other before soldiering on. Also, after assimilating, operators cannot pull a General Shepherd. That's a good reference to the old Modern Warfare 2 and this one. And cut loose ends. Friendly fire is disabled on temporary squad mates. So there's obviously going to be, hey, you prox chat, then you get together, and you're probably going to have to hit a button, a key on your keyboard, whatever, to confirm that you want to assimilate. Obviously, the game's not going to have AI technology that goes, oh, they said over a prox chat that they want to assimilate, now they're assimilated. The backpack, looting, and storage. As opposed to simplified pickup mechanics and a smaller loadout system in Warzone 2's Battle Royale, DMZ item gathering involves storage management in a large backpack, which is brought into and out of matches to carry weapons, equipment, valuables, and more. Looting. In DMZ, you can carry the following items in a loadout. 2 weapons with their maximum amount of ammo, 2 equipment pieces, a field upgrade and a kill streak, armor plates, and a gas mask. Everything else, such as cash, additional ammo, weapons, and equipment, and valuables, is stored in this backpack. Each item picked up in DMZ that is over the loadout capacity is automatically placed in the backpack. If the item is within a container, medical supply case, a data operator's backpack, a weapon cache, you must individually select items from that container to place within the backpack. If at any time you wish to drop something within the backpack, it must be individually selected and dropped. The same applies for swapping inactive loadout items like equipment or field upgrades with ones in your loadout. If you've played Apex or some other battle royales, this is kind of familiar. It's just Warzone's never had this, and it'll be interesting to see. Well, this is DMZ, but and then I haven't played Tarkov, but if you played Tarkov, you're familiar with this, along with some other games. Carrying around different types of loadout items is incredibly helpful for adapting to the DMZ. For example, keeping a spare heartbeat sensor in the backpack is helpful for traveling across strongholds where multiple combatants and operators can be present. Or if you're about to go across a wide open stretch of desert, you can stash a shotgun in the backpack and swap to your long-range rifle. Every item, please don't use shotguns, people, please. Let's just stand together and not use shotguns. Every item, including loadout items like weapons, also has a cash value associated with it. Exchange these items at buy stations for cash to use for missions and other items. So I mentioned this earlier. You can sell certain items at buy stations, like loadout weapons, materials you loot, stuff like that. Storage and item permanence. Anything you extract from the DMZ, cash, weapons, and other items are kept in storage, which you can access anytime between matches in the pre-match lobby. You are free to take anything from storage and put into the backpack or active loadout for the next infiltration. The storage system incentivizes operators who can exfil with as many items as possible, especially contraband weapons. Weapons, contraband, and blueprints. Contraband weapons found across DMZ. Contraband weapons are the primary means of defense and are the main items permanently lost in the DMZ upon match. Any weapon found within DMZ is considered a contraband weapon. This includes weapons found on operators or combatants, or loose in the world or within containers. Contraband weapons can contain anywhere from 0 to 5 attachments. We're used to 0 to 5 attachments from Warzone. It may be the most effective version of the weapon possible. For more potent armaments, consider obtaining weapon blueprints. Weapon blueprints. Other than contraband, you also have access to weapon blueprints in DMZ. Blueprints have a unique property that they are not permanently lost upon death. Instead, dying in DMZ with a weapon blueprint on your person makes a blueprint accessible for a period of time, usually a few hours. Functional weapons. In DMZ, extracting with any contraband weapons unlocks it across all other game modes. So it unlocks the weapon. If you have a weapon lock, you don't do the challenge. Go find it, extract with it, boom, you have it. But it has to be a contraband weapon. One thing that they're not talking about is custom loadout weapons. I don't think you're going to be able to have actual custom loadout weapons. I think whatever you loot from contraband, whether that's attachments or whatever, you'll be able to put it into your loadout that you infill with. And then the blueprint thing is kind of odd because if you can go in the store and buy a blueprint with 5 meta attachments and you can put them in and you don't lose it upon death and you can get them back in no more than a few hours, that feels kind of pay to win to me. And for a free mode, you don't want pay to win. One thing to have in a Modern Warfare 2 where you already have to buy the game, but in a free mode, you don't really want pay to win because you're going to have a lot of people who either don't want to spend money like that on gaming, they just want a game, or you're going to have people who can't afford to spend money like that, and that's why they're playing a free game. No shots to those people. And so then they're going to be at a disadvantage because they can't afford blueprints. They can't afford the pay to win. I don't like blueprints. I don't think you should lose upon death because you pay, but it should at least be more than a few hours. It says this includes the M13 assault rifle, a new free functional weapon earning by defeating blank. It's going to be some contract, something. And then the end game for every DMZ match is the same. Get out or get dropped. Exfil locations are the only sure way out of Mazrah and DMZ. After you manually activate an extraction point by calling an exfil helicopter, the point will be marked on the TAC map for all other squads. At the same time, AA combatants will be able to swarm the area to prevent your escape. Survive this onslaught and you'll be able to leave the match safely, otherwise another squad is sure to use the helicopter that is conveniently called in. So if you call in an extraction, be ready for, or an exfil, be ready for people to come kill you, and if you see one happen, go do it, go steal their helicopter, and you can exfil with their stuff in their helicopter. There are a finite number of exfil points in a DMZ match. After all are used, the final site will be marked. Just like any other site, an exfil helicopter must be called in by a team and is very likely to be swarmed by combatants. However, it will remain in the area for a short duration before it leaves all remaining operators to be listed as MIA. The hostage rescue contract also offers the ability to exfil after successfully delivering the hostages. So if you run out of exfil locations, or they're running low, go do a hostage rescue and get out before you're listed as MIA. Death. As mentioned, anything in your backpack is lost upon death except weapon blueprints. In solo modes, there is zero safety net. If you go down, those backpack contents are gone. In squad-based modes, however, there are two opportunities to stay alive. The first is via down revive, which we're used to, which Call of Duty Warzone players should be already familiar with. Operators will enter a down state and can be picked up to stay alive. Secondly, if a friendly player is KIA, they can still be revived at the spot of their death, although this process will take longer than a down revive. So you don't actually go buy people back. You can just revive them where they were KIA'd. Naturally, this is just the start of the DMZ experience. Expect continuous updates to this mode as the Modern Warfare 2 seasons progress. So, one thing that they did not mention in here, and I don't think they're going to mention, I saw a clip from Modern Warzone when he got a chance to stream and play early. There is actually a revive pistol. I think it took a little longer than a normal revive, but you can revive from a distance with a revive pistol. General overview, all modes. Sweep out strongholds, black sites, vehicles rebuilt, proximity chat, aquatic combat offer new strategies. Looking for party, we had this in Warzone, even though they stopped it or it broke, or I'm not really sure. But you can look for people to play with based off of voice chat, text chat, and ping communication. You can pick up to 3 different main languages. If you speak French, English, and Spanish, you can select for all those. If you only speak English, whatever, you can search for parties that speak English. And then playstyle, competitive, casual, objective, and high kills. What is going to be the difference between competitive and high kills? I guess competitive, playing for the win. Objectives, maybe you like to do a lot of contracts. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. The system will be available in Battle Royale modes as well as featured in multiplayer modes during Season 1. So, obviously, I don't think that sounds like that's going to be in DMZ. Just Battle Royale modes and multiplayer modes. In-match ping system. Now there'll be a tactical ping wheel. With voice lines of general ping, attacking here, watching here, looting here, regrouping here, stay quiet, I need help, and assimilation related. All other modes, the wheel is streamlined to feature going here, stay quiet, watching here, and I need commands. That's going to be in multiplayer, but in Battle Royale and DMZ, you have all of those options. Other improvements, such as pinging in the HUD, were also made over lessons learned the past 3 years. Proximity chat, in Battle Royale and DMZ, you'll have prox chat. Use this to effectively communicate, depends on mode. In DMZ, prox chat is crucial to ensuring an assimilation goes planned. Alternatively, it can be used as a de-escalation tactic for players who just want to complete their objectives and get out. And good luck with that with COD players, including probably myself. In Battle Royale, prox chat is most useful in the Gulag, where you have random squad mate to form a duo. There's enough distance between the duos to quickly discuss strategy before the Gulag duel begins. So it is recommended that you open up comms for that. Also, keep in mind the anti-toxicity rules that will be enforced, so keep those comms clean. Yeah, I just cannot wait to be called a slur over prox chat. That's going to be a lot of fun. Strongholds and black sites. We kind of touched on strongholds and black sites in the roadmap. I think the big thing to know is the first operators that complete a stronghold get a key to a black site, and then also a loadout. First one to complete that black site also gets a loadout. And it says several strongholds will be accessible by finding a key somewhere on the map. So you also need a key to get into the stronghold. But in Battle Royale matches, 3 strongholds are activated that you do not require a key. DMZ, you do need a key. In both modes, they are marked with the large green castle icons and contain AI combatants. The black site is marked with a skull icon and contains considerably tougher enemies, including unique Juggernaut boss. This reward for completing a black site is great. First permanent weapon blueprint is immediately rewarded for use in all modes. During the match itself, operators get tons of legendary items as well as permanent UAV of the area surrounding the black site until it is in the circle collapse. While the above is not necessary for success in either mode, it can certainly help you and the squad stock up on supplies and intel. Vehicles, if you want to actually look through the vehicles, this, like I said, will be linked down below. The ATV we're familiar with. Now it has 2 passengers and additional hop-ons, whatever that means. So now instead of just 1 person in the back, I'm sure it'll be 1 person in the front, 1 person in the back. Whoops. UTV, we're not going to have the regular TAC rover anymore. This is going to be the UTV. We already know 1 driver, 3 passengers. Hatchback is new, 1 driver, 3 passengers. Funny and kind of interesting. They have the mirror hanging off. Chop Top is kind of what the SUV was. I mean, everyone called it the G-Wagon. I've said this in multiple videos, but the G-Wagon, whatever. It's a Land Rover. It is modeled after the Land Rover Defender. You cannot look at that vehicle and this and tell me that it's not the same. But we're used to 1 driver, 3 passengers. SUV, 1 driver, and it's just 3 to 4 passengers. I don't know if that means someone can go in the trunk or not. Or someone's going to be in the middle seat. Hummer EV, still want to know how much DMZ paid for this. 1 driver, 4 passengers. Tactical vehicle. I don't like this armored vehicle with a gun on it, but it is what it is. They're going to keep it in there. 1 driver, 3 passengers. They also have 1 without a mounted 50 cal machine gun, and then they have 1 with. The cargo truck, which is going to be like the new Bertha. I'm glad they added some more siding to it because you were so exposed in the Bertha, and it'll be interesting if the back has 1 driver, 1 indoor passenger, and as many passengers that can stand in the back area. Then we have the light helo, which I'm glad to see has no machine guns on it. I hated that in that's funny, WZ2.0. I hated that in Warzone 1 when they added them. Then there was an invisibility glitch. They took them out. They added them again. Still invisibility glitch. They took them out. Then they added them again. They worked, but they're just obnoxious. Especially, and if you've ever watched me stream, you've seen me do it. Go sit on top of the water tower in Rebirth Island and just use the turret. Heavy chopper, 1 pilot bay and as many 1 pilot and as many people that can fit in the cargo bay. It can take a lot of damage, and then obviously you can just jump out of it in a parachute. The RHIB, 1 captain, 3 seated passengers, and whoever can stand in the flat body. Armored patrol boat, 1 captain, 2 passengers, an exposed 50 cal gunner, and as many people that can stand on it. Vehicular techniques, which is something else that has been touched on before, but passengers carrying vehicles such as a hatchback SUV can lean out the window. Seat swapping, a more advanced strategy with vehicles involves seat swapping. Those who can quickly swap to a passenger seat will make the vehicle coast for a few seconds, allowing you to heal using a stim, throw in an armor plate, or potentially pick up a kill. Alternatively, switching seats as often as passenger can throw off enemy fire. We've all done that. Get on up. You can get on the roof now and shoot from the roof. You can do it from the passenger or the driver's seat. Obviously, if you do it from the driver's seat, the vehicle is going to slow down to a coast. And then there goes a tire. Vehicles also have more realistic damage in Modern Warfare 2 compared to previous games. Try shooting out tires of an enemy vehicle to make it harder to control, or blow the doors off to make it easier to target an enemy inside. Now, as we touched on before, there's going to be fuel, including on the Hummer EV, which you're going to have to go fill up with either gas stations or gas cans found around the map. And then if you run out of gas, the vehicle is just dead there until you can get a gas can. You can also repair vehicle damage. For land vehicles, tire damage can be fixed by manually interacting with each tire to replace it. All vehicles can also visit gas stations to have body damage, and tires, if applicable, recovered over time. So you go park there and it'll slowly build up your vehicle again. You can't do doors and stuff on the road. And you do have to also fill up your battery on the Hummer EV. Buy Stations 2.0, available gear, gas mask, kill streaks, armor, and more. This is the buy station content of old with a twist. There's a limited quantity of items that can be bought at each shop before it runs out of the match. I actually really like that, so it makes it harder for people to just spam stuff and just buy the shit out of stuff. And just, we saw stim abuse with munitions boxes and all that, so I like this change. Buy weapon, custom weapons created for custom loadouts in Battle Royale can be purchased for a considerable fee. We saw like 10,000 in the COD Next event. I hope it's not still like that. Teammate buyback, BR only, as the original Warzone squad mates can be bought back. Buy back their fallen enemies, including those who lose in the gulag. I still kind of would like to see people be able to be bought back mid-gulag, but as long as you're not in a match, of course. Sell DMZ only. For valuables like hard drives and gold bars to weapons and equipment, the shops will happily give out cash for anything in your backpack. Aquatic combat, there's a bunch of areas with water. I'm not really going to go over this too much. There's a bunch of areas, though, with water. You can swim through them. You can take the boats through them. If you want to read more about the waterways, feel free. And I think that's it. So that's all the info we now have on Battle Royale and DMZ modes. Like I said, I'm going to be live right when this drops to go ahead and either play DMZ or Battle Royale right away. I'll be streaming probably right before drop and then as it drops. So Twitch link down below. Please come and check me out. Also linked below, sorry, I'm struggling, is going to be this, as well as other Warzone 2 and DMZ and Battle Royale information videos. So please check all those out. But thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more Warzone 2, both Battle Royale and DMZ content, and any other games I might feel like making content for. And with all the other stuff I mentioned linked down below, I also have my Instagram and TikTok, which I post on more days than I don't, as well as my Twitter, which is less gaming heavy, but feel free to check all of those out. And I will see you on Mazrah in just a couple days. Get frying. Have a good day. Bye.